So, Pure Country Reacts, tonight we've been holding off on this. The Amber Heard Johnny Depp trial. Obviously, it's been a big thing in Hollywood. It's been a big thing pretty much everywhere, worldwide. This, Lexi says, we spend a lot of our evenings going through memes and reactions, and actually the entirety, except for day one, the entirety of this trial has been listened to from beginning to end. So we have listened to every argument. We've listened and looked, I listened to it at work, but
every testimony.
Right. We've heard every testimony. We've, she's got to watch it more than I have. I have listened to it. I work from home, so I can't really pay attention to it because I work on a computer, but, I have listened to it. So we've heard all the evidence. We have heard all the testimony. We have obviously we do have access to social media. We do have access to all news sources, and obviously we all have an opinion. So I am very, very aged. Lexi, however, is not. I do not mind telling people that my age is 52. I have been around a good deal of the time. I do remember Johnny Depp's first movie because I was born in 1969. So when Johnny Depp made his debut in Nightmare on Elm Street, I saw that movie, okay? I didn't see that movie years later. I saw that movie when it was released. And it was, to me, at that time, one of the scariest movies I'd ever saw. It was so dark. It was so realistic. It's just, this is a well-made movie, but this was Johnny Depp's first movie. Also I didn't watch it a whole lot, 21 Jump Street. He was in 21 Jump Street. My grandmother actually happened to love that. Rest in peace, Granny. I've seen not everything Johnny Depp has done because Johnny Depp is eccentric. He's very eccentric, and a lot of the roles he chooses tend to be things that I might not be interested in just because of the storyline. I have always been a Johnny Depp fan, and we're not going to say I'm one of these, I'm going to believe everything that is said. I am the type of person, no matter what comes out in the news, what comes out in social media, I'm going to want to see all sides. I want to see it all. You're gonna show me the beginning of the recording to the end of the recording. I'm going to hear everything. I'm going to see everything. I want to see what this person's opinion is and this person's opinion is. I want to hear her side, his side. I want to hear all sides. This is why we've waited until the trial is over. Friday, they did closing arguments, and it has now gone to a jury, and the jury will now be deliberating. Obviously, they wasn't going to get to a verdict on Friday, and Monday is Memorial Day, and probably years from now when anybody sees this, Tuesday, the jury will come back, and they will be viewing all the evidence, all the testimony. They will be deliberating, and they will come up to what they feel is fair, who wins, who loses.
And unfortunately, we have figured out that defamatory suits are typically a lot harder to figure out.
Johnny Depp had the burden of proof.
He had the burden of it, but the thing is what we saw was the law is more on Amber Heard's side, but factual evidence is more on Johnny Depp's side. Now, several law nerds out there, including Emily D. Baker and what's this name? I know it's Runkle something.
Runkle of the Bailey.
Runkle the Bailey. They're amazing. You watch them. They explain the trial very easily to understand.
That is actually how, after probably with the first 3 days, it was really, I wanted to pull my hair out, listen to a lot of it. What being said is good? What being said is positive? Is it negative? Who does it hurt? Yeah, what is the catches? What is the law? What does the law say? I won't even take credit for it. This one right here is my little research nerd. She watches quite a bit of YouTube. And
I do a lot of research.
She is always everywhere looking, and she stumbled on somebody called Emily D. Baker. And she is an attorney. I don't believe she's doing it anymore. I think she may have retired from it. I'm not sure. I think she has a podcast too, but she does have a channel, Emily D. Baker. She was awesome. Okay. She streamed this, not from the courtroom, obviously. but went through the entire thing as it was happening, broke it down, gave us the laws. When you don't know what's going on in the courtroom, you're like, oh, God, is that good? Is that bad? Can they do that? Can they not do that?
Especially when a lot of people, and I noticed it was on like 3 separate YouTubes where they were doing the live streaming of the trial. People would ask if Amber Heard could go to jail for this. Well, no, because it's a defamatory sue, not a criminal sue.
It's not a criminal thing. So, no, that wasn't really in the cards, even though maybe some people wanted her to go to jail. And the reason we're being long-winded about it is because tonight what we're going to do is every night we wind down with memes, funny videos of Johnny Depp, Amber Heard, all these things. And in my past few videos that I've posted or that we've posted, we've made our opinions very clear. I said I've always been a Johnny Depp fan. Lexi, after going through and seeing, she's seen some of his movies before.
I think I have few of his movies out our favorites.
I mean, it's just not really sort of kind of here or there. She said he's a good actor. He's an excellent actor. He's, as I said, he's very eccentric. He chooses certain things. What's his name? He used him, Edward Scissorhands and all that. Tim Burton. Tim Burton uses him a lot. He is that kind of an actor. Certain roles are just made for him. I always try to stay away from super serious stuff, but I am and have always been a Johnny Depp fan. As I said, though, in all fairness, with any Hollywood superstar, musician, or anything like that, that does not mean that I like everything you do. That means I do like you as an actor or an actress, and some things I just favor more than others. Same with Johnny Depp movies. I don't like everything that he does, but I do like a good bit of what he does. The Pirates of the Caribbean, there's 5 of those. I really only particularly liked the first one. And that's nothing to do with Johnny Depp. That's just more of a storyline thing and a me thing. So anyway, and I'm going to actually give the other part 2, 3, 4, and 5. I'm going to give them a chance. And honestly, we have, which was the other one that Dad said we had? 5 or 4?
5.
Yeah, we do actually own that one. I've never owned the other ones. I'm very heavily a voodoo person. I'm not talking about the magic. I'm talking about, I like to just purchase my movies on Voodoo.
The Voodoo app on Roku.
Yeah, it's actually it's just a Voodoo app. Just period. You get them on your phones, your tablets, your iPods. It's just an app, and you can, when you buy a movie, if they have a digital format in there, a lot of times you can redeem it there, or you can actually just buy from there. I'm more of that now. We do have tons of movies, and they just take up a lot of space, so I would just really rather buy on the voodoo.com app, and it's a website as well. So I'm going to probably give those a chance again. Anyway, obviously I am a Johnny Depp supporter, and I could have easily changed my mind if I had heard something that I felt like was absolute truth to the accusations he was accused of. I will not repeat those accusations, not because I don't believe him, because I really don't believe him. I didn't believe him in the first place, but like I say, I want the truth. So, but I've always been a Johnny Depp fan. I'm still a Johnny Depp fan. Did I ever like Amber Heard? Not especially. It's not that I hated her. I just wasn't a fan of hers. I didn't really care. I think she's a beautiful, elegant woman. Not a fan. I'm really even less of a fan now when someone would, I see in just my view, accuse someone of doing something that the evidence in mine and her opinion did not support. That he did those things. That will still be coming. I also wanted to say before we get started that we are actually up to, I believe it was 46 subscribers, and I wanted to say thank you to the subscribers who have given us a chance, who watch our videos. Your time is very appreciated. Make sure that if you do like what we do, give us a thumbs up. Always open to any kind of comments or critiques, and help us out by sharing our videos with your friends and family. A lot of our stuff is geared more towards horror, suspense and things like that. We are going to go back.
That's on Games and Movies, though.
That's on Games and Movies. We do have BTS stuff that we review.
We do cooking.
We cook. We don't have a lot of cooking videos out there because I doubt anybody wants to see us remaking the same things over and over, and I'm really blathering for a long time. So anyway, I just wanted to try to explain some of this stuff, and we'll probably stop along the line and explain other things if we feel like it, but we just wanted this to be a funny thing. I wanted to wait till everything was said and done. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through and we're going to look at memes, and we're just going to hopefully laugh. So enjoy. This is Johnny Depp and Amber Heard YouTube trial memes. Enjoy.
Depp had his penis out of his
Objection.
pants, didn't he?
All right, good.
And then you went in the house and saw Mr. Depp in the foyer, correct? Yes. Mr. Depp was trying to urinate in the foyer, wasn't he?
Next question.
I'm just going to say, for the sake of argument, Johnny Depp looked very, very confused by the accusation, as if that was something he had never heard before.
Everybody buffered. It was like, what?
I mean, really, it did. When I heard that myself, okay, I was like, I'm working. I hear them say, well, you know, and the next line is, well, he had his penis out, didn't he? I mean, I even stopped for a minute and went,
what?
what? Because I listened to it on my phone. I was like, what?
He's only reading the article headlines.
And I laughed.
I laughed.
Proceeds to do a cavity search?
Now, I don't know if any of you know, but people are trying to say that there's a filter on Snapchat that's a mimic of Amber Heard's over accentuated face of.
Exactly. We haven't tried that yet.
Because there was one of the guys, and it's Popcorn Planet. I did watch him on some of the updates of
YouTube.
trials. Well, he's on
Popcorn
YouTube.
Planet, yep.
He got on one of his videos, and he had the filter on. I thought something happened to him because I didn't have the sound on, and he had the red eyes, the furrowed brows, and the mouth all the way down here. He looks like he's sobbing.
I mean, and I know people have seen it. I know a lot of people get on social media, and that is absolutely a filter that you can use. And people have been doing it on like Instagram, on TikTok, places like that. And they'll say, "Are you happy?" And then people will be like, "Yeah." And they're like, "Well, you look so sad." It's just
The only reason why I knew, and it was a filter, is when it turned sideways and it left his face for a second. I was like, it startled me. It really did. But it's a Amber face on Snapchat now.
I don't know if anybody's really verified that that's what it is, but it didn't happen until after that, for sure.
It didn't happen until after.
Didn't happen until after. Oh, and a side note, we're trying different lighting, so hopefully this does better. My husband keeps saying our lighting is terrible, so.
We poor, so.
Just shoved his fingers inside.
Okay, and the thing is, I don't understand why anybody would want to do a cavity search on their spouse. That's really weird to me, just saying. No.
I'm walking away. I walked away from him. My back was turned to him, and I feel this boot. It just kicked me in the back. And
Look at old Ben. That's so, Ben Shoe.
Everyone loves Ben Shoe. He's an MVP, besides Camille Vasquez.
And a lot of people are questioning this moment right here. I will go back just a hair, let you re-see it if you haven't. I don't think there's many people in America who has not seen little bits of this stuff. If anything on the news, it was questioned if she had a tissue, and it's not from the tissue box that was actually on the stand there. So it was sort of assumed that she had brought that, and I know we don't want to assume, we know what that means. But anyway, did it look like she was taking a little, that kind of a thing? You decide. I thought it looked like she gave a little sniff in there, but I could be wrong,
mental condition.
Pulled it out. Yeah, I think she gave a sniff, really. But, sniff of Coke. Now she's posing. Everybody say
I don't see him anymore. It wasn't him. It was black.
This is honestly, this entire trial. Okay, so Johnny Depp went in. We all figured you have 0% chance of winning anything at all.
Right.
it has been a whole mind screw, this whole trial. Like, I think people, including Emily D. Baker, said herself that they've lost brain cells in this entire trial.
You could lose IQ points.
And it has become a soap opera.
It really
like
has.
The whole thing, when it got to week 2, a whole soap opera.
And who made it a soap opera but Amber Heard's side? Amber Heard and Amber Heard's side. And that's why I'm saying, if you haven't watched a lot of the trial, there are several YouTube channels that recorded it, that streamed it or whatever, especially the places that could do it. We highly suggest Emily D. Baker, because she explains it. She explains a lot what is going on, answers a lot of the questions. We highly recommend her.
And the reason why I say Runkle of the Bailey is because he was actually physically there inside the court watching, and he would give you the tips on what was being said, or at least the jury and their reactions.
There were several people that she knew, 3 of them, and I don't remember. We can remember Runkle of the Bailey. There were 2 others that were in there, and they were actually doing more of a, we're going to watch the jury's reaction, because obviously the jury can't be seen, but also
the jury's reactions is the most important thing.
Right, but also the jury can remain I don't really know the right verbiage
neutral?
for it. No.
Stoic?
No, I don't even know if I can think of the word. They can remain hidden for a year. They do not have to release the jurors' names, and I don't remember what they call that. But if they want to come out that they were jury, I think they can. I know, but usually after a court case, the names of the jurors can be let public. For a year, this jury cannot. And I did hear that on the Emily D. Baker. That was something I think that both sides requested. Well, if anybody wanted to maybe award Amber Heard anything, they may receive death threats. I don't know. But they could also say, I was on the Johnny Depp jury. So I don't know if they have to stay hidden, but they can't release their names for a year, which I'd never heard before. But anyways, yes, let's go and watch these faces.
To him in some way.
Just to say, bam, there was not one tear that fell. I have watched, after I clocked out of work, okay, I have watched so many videos, not one tear fell from her eye. Interestingly enough,
I'll explain that. Her acting coach did testify for her side, but outed her because she said when Amber is acting like upset, she always struggled with crying actual tears. So she usually failed at crying tears, but she could over accentuate the faces.
She does the faces quite well. I think she overly does the faces myself. But as you can tell, she's got the Kleenex. She don't wipe at her eyes. There's no music, no makeup that runs down her face. No, it could be water. You know, the water resistant. I totally understand that. Not one tear fell from her eye. I mean, come on. I have a lunch break every day.
Well, we already established that she wore like hardly any makeup when she was on stage.
Yeah, exactly. She tried to look like a school marm with the hairdos, and
one day she dressed like a nun
with very little makeup, very little lipstick. She tried to look really, really conservative, which I'm sure that her attorneys suggested that she did. After her time on the stand, hairstyles looked different. The makeup changed and became more apparent. So, you know, this was just, and it was really interesting. We've seen some things where she would wear the same type colors and styles that Johnny Depp wore. Like if Johnny Depp wore this today, then tomorrow she would have the similar color. It's really interesting. We've watched all kinds of stuff, and when people point these things out, I'm like, oh God, she did do that. It was really, really crazy. I mean, we've seen a lot of it. But anyway,
I lose my balance. At this point, we're sitting next to each other on the.
She's wearing a suit now.
I was just sitting there on this carpet, looking at the dirty carpet, wondering how I wound up on this carpet. Why I never.
Why is this so beautiful?
It was so filthy before.
Sorry for your daughter.
Slapped me across the face. I turned to look at him, and I said, "Johnny, you hit me. You just hit me."
Where's he going?
Did I read that right?
Because he walked away to get something.
Touched the screen horribly. Pardon me.
It's okay.
Reflecting a different time than when they were actually sent.
Objection.
I like the eye blinks. Blink. Blink, blink.
I won't give you any argument with you yet. or you sustained an injury.
Yet.
Yesterday, you texted. I'm sorry. I thought we'd seen a lot of texts together.
It's all right, I did take someone yesterday. Where she could be.
I wondered about Amber's attorney's law firm, if it, because they had the craziest names. There's Bredelhoff, Nedelhoff, Rottenborn.
We were like this. They were probably the law firm of
the
weird
weird
names. Seriously.
Because it was just so crazy. You got Sweet Benchu, you got Camille Vasquez, and then you had them
Weird names out there.
weird last names.
Really
on her
hard to
side.
get out there. I mean, multi-syllable. Not to mention, it was sort of kind of did it start in the beginning where for Rottenborn, some people were referring to him as Born Rotten. It was, and only then did I connect his name was Rottenborn. Only after that.
And really, it was funny when Johnny would try to, I guess, accentuate his name more. Thank you, Mr. Rottenborn. It's like, it was a heavier tone. It's just like
It really was. It really was.
You really are born rotten.
In your sleep a lot. Do you remember that recording?
Yes, I do.
What's your
See, she's dressed like a nun. She was dressed like a whole nun.
Very
She
conservative.
had flat shoes, no heels, no makeup on hardly, and all black.
Court, I think first thing that I would do is seek medical attention.
Did I read that right?
Yes, it's a stack of hit
Yes.
pieces.
The first one.
Which obviously he knows about.
I mean, in all honesty, when you are a person who's famous, regardless of what kind of a gorgeous human being you are on inside and out, if you do everything in the books, you give all to charities, you go to all these interviews and you seem like the nicest person, somebody is going to find a way to talk bad about you in articles. Because they don't
do.
like you or they just hate you for whatever reason. And they try to pin maybe negative articles. They try to pin some fake scandals on you.
Exactly.
There's going to be people who do not like you regardless.
Exactly.
So, as a person who's been famous for God knows how many years.
Oh, God. Ooh, he's in his 50s. 40, let's just say
40
at
plus
least
years.
40 years. Let's say, yeah, 40, we'll go 40 plus years.
I'm sure he's got a lot of negative articles on him.
Oh, yeah. When you've been around that long, and considering that when he was really sort of kind of breaking through in the 80s, he did have quite the colorful way of making the news, which I'm saying what 80s rock band probably didn't. Okay, rock stars were big about trashing hotel rooms, and he trashed a few hotel rooms. Yeah, I know he's not a rock star. He is a Hollywood elite actor, and he trashed a couple of hotel rooms. He never hid that. He never hid that he did drugs. He never hid that he drank alcohol. This was all common knowledge. Okay, so he didn't hide anything. He admitted to it.
But what I'm saying is he's bringing out articles and he's only going to read the headlines.
Just the headline.
And typically, and if any of you have read into things like I do all the time, I read a lot, and I continuously see that almost every article you see on Google is highly opinionated, not based on fact. It's very
they're
opinionated.
opinions. They're opinions. And even if, say, and we're not referencing any in particular one, you have to see that when someone posts an article, even in like your local newspaper, in the Washington Journal, Wall Street Journal, New York, etc., those things, they will post
Opinionated
news.
pieces.
They will post news, actual news articles, but then they will have opinion posts, and those are also done by their reporters or whatever. But you have to look; those are opinion and are not factual at all. So if he's in a movie, if she's in a movie and it bombs, you're gonna have the hit pieces that he's talking about. That is regular, and I don't think it could ever be out in the limelight where people were just constantly gunning for your character or gunning for your acting or your singing ability. I mean, it would be a really hard life, and he's weathered it. And then to have these accusations thrown against him.
Well, we don't go into it too much.
We're not going to go into it, but
Yes,
you feel bad sometimes.
We're going to try to get through this as quickly
But
as
I was just trying to make my point clear.
Yes.
It was titles. talking for 10 minutes to looking for more evidence. Look.
Yep.
That's
All
what
right.
it says, yes, sir.
So let's listen to these.
Johnny Depp, friends and family seriously concerned about him. Here's why.
Yes,
Correct.
how did they know?
How did they
The
know?
next
Mhm.
article, did I read that right?
Good point.
You did, reportedly.
Mr. Depp,
Reportedly.
Mr. Depp, please just respond to the question that I'm asking you.
What's your
The next
question, Mr.
question, the
Rottenborn?
next, Johnny Depp's
Mr.
financial
Rottenborn.
woes might sink the next Pirates of the Caribbean. Did I read that right?
You did, I don't know
The
how
next
my
article,
financial woes would do
Mate,
that.
did I read that right?
You read that very, very well.
The next, did I read that right?
You certainly did. This is hearsay. is
June
it not?
21st.
Yeah, it's hearsay because it's opinions and it's not based in fact.
Now that was one thing. If you actually watch the trial, Amber's team really loves to object to hearsay.
Yes, there's a little song we just mentioned.
Like I said, we will put the link in the description to the song because the song is amazing. It's catchy.
It's hilarious.
But they always objected to hearsay, even if
Everything.
it had nothing to do with hearsay.
Right.
But then they put out evidence that was hearsay.
Yeah,
And you're
so
saying so you're saying that him speaking to somebody is hearsay, but your opinionated article from someone who has no idea about any of his life
Doesn't know him personal, giving their opinions.
it's not hearsay at all.
Yeah, exactly. And all he's doing is reading the titles of the pieces.
The headlines. Yeah,
Yep,
that's it. Not even the context behind it, which they really hated context on her
They
team.
did.
2018.
Too many
Did I read
papers.
that correctly?
You did. Who's Alison Boshoff?
Mr. Depp, did you have a single
You won't know that
notice of
answer.
became associated with those same accusations that she made, correct? You testified to that.
Well, she had a choice. I didn't.
But when it comes to context, especially with the experts, because they had quite a few experts on here, and they didn't like it when they had to explain their expertise. Now, as an expert, as a doctor, a surgeon, a psychologist, a computer forensics, you're gonna have to explain to the jury what your job is, how your job is done. The thing is, when you're an expert, you have to explain to the jury because I'm sure they don't work your job.
No.
And they're not really gonna understand how you came to this conclusion to why you sided with whoever, Johnny Depp or Amber Heard.
Right. And some things aren't.
It's not really easy black and white. And the thing is they, like I said, they hated context. So if they asked Johnny a question and he's trying to give you the context for the answer, they're like, it's yes or no.
Yeah.
It's not a yes or no
Exactly.
question. There's a reason behind it. Because there's instances where it could be a yes, and there's instances where it could be a no. I mean,
And you know, in life, some things just aren't clearly a yes or no.
see, and that was one thing
answer.
I had told you about with I'm sure all of y'all heard of the MBTI tests and all that. And I told Mom, I said, it's really hard for me to answer those questions because it depends on the person how I'm going to react. The thing is that there's people I'll be close to and I'll have a different reaction to. There's people I can be villains with and I will have a completely different reaction to them. And there's people who can take emotional standpoints and I'll have a different reaction to them. And there's people who would like to have time to themselves and emotional standpoints and then I have a different reaction to them. I mean, it's just not easy black and white answers
Right.
dealing with, especially with somebody as bipolar as Amber Heard. So,
Seem to be, exactly.
I mean,
But, yeah, exactly. Some things are just not
It's
yes
not simple.
or no.
Other
October is 2 months before December. Correct.
Disney came to you with $300 million and $1 million out pocket.
You're right. It was $1 million.
Nothing on this earth would get you to go back and work with Disney.
That is true, Mr.
That is true.
Rottenborn.
Rotten
Jen
barn.
screaming. Silk Jen screaming. The alpacas.
Mr. Depp, that is your signature on the right,
Yep.
correct?
Yes, it is.
The document you signed, right?
For the third time, that is my signature, yes.
Good. And that was the document you signed in August of 2016.
Is that the same one that I signed 3 times before? That she would like for him to quote. That's hearsay, I guess. Yes, I
I'm
read
learning.
Papers. Maybe they're hearsay papers.
They're hearsay papers.
A mega pint. of
Mega
red wine.
pint.
Oh my God, everybody has been all over the mega pint.
Exactly. And if you're wondering if you have no clue who Johnny Depp is or Amber Heard is or any of these people are or where even Virginia or West Virginia is, you've probably heard mega pint. This is where it comes from.
A mega pint.
I have other uses for your throat which do not include
This was hilarious.
injury. I have other uses for your throat which do not include
Wait.
injury.
Sorry, could you read that again?
You would sometimes drink whiskey in the mornings too, right?
Isn't happy hour any time?
He didn't even have to do it.
Noted that you would be at the courthouse and knew exactly which side of your face to take a picture of. Did you?
I know how many people will come out and say whatever for him. That's his power. That's why I wrote the op-ed. I was speaking to that phenomenon.
Yeah.
Okay.
She just admitted.
Now,
She wrote the op-ed.
that's one of the points with a defamation case, is the fact that you knowingly wrote or posted something
That was
not true, and you knew that it would do damage to that person. Now, knowing
Exactly.
these are famous people, it's going to do some worldwide damage.
It really, really is, because as we all know, 2 days after the op-ed came out, 2 days after the op-ed came out, Disney released Johnny Depp from the Pirates of the Caribbean.
And he was also dropped from the second Fantastic Beasts movie.
Yes.
So, the thing is she has been saying she never wrote this op-ed, and if you watch the whole entire thing, including the deposition,
we suggest you watch it.
we suggest you watch it. It makes more sense that way. She always claims she never wrote it about Johnny Depp because there was no, quote unquote, his name was not in the article, but you insinuated. Now, she wrote the op-ed in 2018. Her relationship with Johnny ended late 2016. And her op-ed states, 2 years ago, I stood up against the sexual violence and faced our culture's wrath. And it was against women. Now, 2 years before that, she was in a relationship with Johnny Depp. And during that time frame, she had accused him of being a wife beater, basically.
An abuser, a wife abuser.
So, basically, everyone put the pieces together because she's already made those statements before.
Right.
And then now she's just confessed that
she wrote the op-ed.
she wrote the op-ed about Johnny Depp.
Exactly. And the wrath of the people, really. She acted like this guy that Johnny Depp was basically God, and everybody bent
to his will.
To his will, and they would say or do whatever. If you actually go back, and we really highly suggest that you do, go back and listen to anything that was brought to her that she had to answer questions about. She never admitted wrongdoing in nothing, and anything that had been said for Johnny Depp or from people who were there to talk in her defense didn't quite line up. Everybody else was
wrong and lying.
Everybody else was lying, and she was the only one telling the truth. And I'm not exaggerating this. Go back. There's so many channels on YouTube. You will absolutely see this.
But the thing is, she's countersuing. I'm sure you've heard this. If not, you're hearing it now.
Let's tell his amount first.
His amount is $50 million.
He was sued for $50 million defamation, yes.
Because of the op-ed. Now, she's just confessed that she knowingly wrote this op-ed, and she also posted it on her Instagram. It is also an evidence that she said, I wrote and published this op-ed. I can't remember.
It's Twitter, yeah.
They said Twitter or Instagram, but she wrote it. She had linked the op-ed in the post. And the thing is they said it could easily not mean anything if it was just a share. No, she typed something above it and said, I wrote and published this.
Provided the link to the article.
And it says her name in big bold. So, and now she's just confessed that she wrote it because of Johnny Depp, which was what he was suing for. She's suing $100 million.
$400 million.
$100 million.
Yep, $100 million.
Because of Waldman's statements. Now, the thing is Mr. Waldman was his attorney when he was suing the Sun. And the thing is, typically attorneys make statements based on their clients. Typically, that's how it goes when they have interviews and all that. They have an opinion, and typically their opinion is inclined with their client.
Exactly. So but they're not told by their clients to, hey, go tweet.
No.
My support.
They have their own mouths, they have their own fingers, they can type in whatever they want, and it don't mean anything. So she's suing for Mr. Waldman's statements of her accusations being a hoax, basically.
And and it was his attorney that said, basically this is a lie, this is a hoax.
So basically, she's claiming that Johnny Depp knowingly knew that Mr. Waldman was writing these statements and was behind it as well.
So Johnny Depp was getting sued for
Even though it was on Mr. Waldman's Twitter.
Not Waldman. Waldman. It was Johnny Depp. because that had been his attorney at the time.
So it makes a lot of sense, doesn't it?
I'm telling you, you gotta watch this stuff. Set aside several hours.
In support of him.
Definitely look at the highlights. The highlights will give you the best ones.
The non-party HM Productions motion to intervene.
Thank you, Your Honor. For the record, I've known...
Okay, now that part, if you don't know of this, we probably have to do that video another day, but Amber Heard always claimed that she tried to protect Johnny Depp when it came to the abuse allegation. She didn't want anything out, supposedly. But in her deposition in
If that was 2016, it would have had to have been 17 or 18.
Maybe? It was somewhere in that line. But she had accidentally spilled that she alerted TMZ before she went to the courthouse to file for divorce and the restraining order as well, with a bruise on the right side of her face. And this attorney had came from TMZ because he didn't want this ex-employee at TMZ to come testify against Amber Heard as a rebuttal.
He didn't want him basically to testify at all.
He didn't want him to testify, so he wanted to be able to intervene. Now, of course, this judge says this is something you can handle in your own time, not in this case, because you're not a defendant nor a plaintiff. And if you want to take it up with your ex-TMZ employee, then that's your business.
That's what you're going to have to do. But he's going to be allowed to be a witness.
Yeah, he's going to be allowed to be a witness, and basically he blows it out of the water.
It really does. He has some fascinating information, some things that line up.
And easily, and honestly, he leaves it hanging, and you can just piece it together.
He gives no names. He doesn't drop, no, there's no name dropping. He basically says, this is how we get our information.
And I think that was one thing he wanted to stick to, is there's some boundaries you can't cross as an ex-TMZ employee. I think he was trying to follow some of those guidelines by not giving names.
I don't think he had the names, though, because some of this stuff actually was, especially the person who was name dropping, I guess, for Amber's going to be here or here. He did know that it was producers. Things had to be verified before. Everybody knows TMZ is usually first on the scene for
anything when it comes to
Hollywood celebrity news. They're usually when they break the story, because people call in with tips have to be verified, but then you have people who are actually part of management or people that are close to whoever the subject is that call, says, hey, we're fixing to do such and such, you might want to, this is what you're going to be looking for. So this guy came up and he was just going to tell what he knew, and TMZ had an attorney who's this guy who came up and said, nah, can't do that for XYZ or whatever. And
now, really the biggest reason why he couldn't do anything was because this witness did not forcefully be made to come here to testify. Yeah. He testified willingly. He's volunteering.
His own free will to come up. This is fascinating stuff, I'm telling you guys.
Like Emily D. Baker explains it very easily, and it is very understandable, so we know a lot more about court cases now.
We do, even though we don't understand some of the laws. Go ahead.
Mr. Tobin, for several years, I meant no snarkiness toward him.
Well, you're just a snarky guy.
You're just a snarky guy.
Yeah.
Well, you can't believe it.
Now, I need to pull up your phone really quick. There are some body language guys I would really like you guys to check out, because they do body language analysis based on both Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. And I would like for you to see, because if you're not a really good judge of character, I think they would be able to explain a little bit of things, especially if they're things you had no idea you ever did. Like, for example, when I try to relive something or like think of something when I'm trying to explain something to Mom, I actually look in the right upper right of my eye, and they say typically people who are trying to remember a memory typically look up at the 1 o'clock on a circular on a clock, and typically it's the upper right.
And it's because they're accessing memories.
And then typically when you are trying to think of a script is what they. Okay, so there's two I know of. I'm sure they have linked other ones as well. There's the behavioral panel, and there's Observe, and they are really good with body language. They've done body language examining for years. And they do both Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, of course. And they honestly explain things that make a lot of sense.
And she had never really thought about.
Yeah, you don't really think about it. Like I said, I didn't really think about looking up in the right corner of my eye when I'm trying to access memories. And then when they said that, and then I think I was in the mid-conversation, and I stopped myself. I said, oh my God, I'm looking up in the right side of my eye.
It's just the 1 o'clock position. So if somebody's talking to you and you're like, go up this way, or if you go up this way, there's a lot of the body language analysis. This includes police officers and investigators as well, just in general.
Because one of the ones on the behavior panel, I think, is an ex-Marine. Marines are always Marines, but he said they typically had that kind of training as well when it came to dealing with normal, everyday people. You never know who's going to be a threat.
You really don't. So you learn to read body language. It's very fascinating. So accessing memories is doing like a 1 o'clock sort of kind of a thing. You just think about the face of a clock, the 1 o'clock, And
they even explained, now I'm sure you'll see a lot of these videos, her expressions are very different. They say that you can't just switch to expressions in such a way. Typically, your face will fade from an expression to another one, especially when you're sad. Your face will slowly start to droop.
If you have a true emotion.
Yeah, true emotion. Your face will start to droop slowly.
Slowly. It doesn't just drop off.
Don't. It's not just like we've said with hers. Her face is so over accentuated.
Right.
It's over exaggerated that it just don't look actually sad.
That was one of them that actually was said with yours, that she changes her facial expressions
within seconds, like
this.
Because even I think the behavioral panel said her eyes would actually flicker, and it actually scared one of them when her eyes flickered from looking at the attorney to the jury, and her face just changed within a second.
Yeah. Definitely go back and watch a lot of the videos. Serious ones, the funny ones, and actually I think we're ending up explaining a lot of this stuff ourselves, but I mean, it has been like 6 weeks. I mean, seriously, 6 weeks, and it has been absolutely
It's been, honestly, like I said, it's a mind screw.
It really is.
It's been mentally exhausting.
It has, and I would be wound so tight sometimes that I would actually have to take a day off. Fridays was welcome because Monday through Thursday was court. Friday would be the days that just the attorneys would be there, and they'd be going over what was going to be brought up in the court for the next week. That was my day off from the court because I would be wound so tight, and my anxiety was
all over the place.
Oh, on fleek, big time. It was. I definitely needed that day. Definitely.
Her mouth.
Now you see, she was just sad seconds ago. Now she looks smug.
Of Miss Heard's op-ed.
It's so quick.
Mr. Depp did not physically abuse Miss Heard. He did not
Miss Turd.
sexually
Miss Turd.
abuse Miss Heard.
Miss
You've
Turd.
heard audio after audio where Miss Heard admits that she was physically
It's a hashtag
abusing
now,
him.
Amber Turd.
Yeah.
Keep it going.
While Mr. Depp's name will be forever tarnished by these horrendous and false allegations, this case is about telling you his story.
You can
and
tell
the
he was
truth
so dumb.
about what really happened, which you've now heard. It is about restoring his lost reputation. It's about showing Mr. Depp's children, Lily Rose and Jack, that the truth is worth fighting for. It is. And it's about restoring Mr. Depp's name and standing in the community to the fullest extent that you can. And you can do something. And only you, ladies and gentlemen, can do that for him. We ask you to please return your verdict for Mr. Depp. We ask you, we implore you to give him his name, his reputation, and his career back. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and take a break at this time. Case has not been
He
submitted
gave
to
him a
you
big
yet.
old
We'll
hug
continue.
too.
He really did have the best attorneys. He had the absolute best attorneys who were very sympathetic to him. And if you look at a lot of the actions and the responses of Amber Heard's team, they were hired. They were not sympathetic to her.
And that's the thing that Emily D. Baker and Runkle the Bailey say a lot is you have to be emotionally inclined with your client, otherwise it doesn't seem passable. Because that Ben Chu is very empathetic to Johnny Depp. It seems very believable. He believes wholeheartedly in his client, that he empathizes with him to the fullest extent. Then you had Amber's team, when they would talk with her in direct, when they had a closing, they seemed very apathetic with her argument. They didn't seem emotionally there, which means they don't believe in their client. And
They're
that's
just getting
honestly,
paid.
that's honestly the biggest convince for jury is that you fully believe in your client. And the thing is, they didn't seem to be that way. And really, if you looked at Elaine Bredelhoff and Nedelhoff,
Nedelhoff.
they both look so stressed.
Really, they did. They look miserable. A lot of the times, they look stressed.
Yeah, I honestly feel bad for them.
And I'm
Police
gonna.
noticed that no one showed up for Miss Heard in this courtroom other than her sister.
True.
Every other witness who traveled to Virginia.
So you see how attorneys are so stressed looking?
Well, the metadata next to it is so that
Ms. Heard,
to avoid this
Ms.
sort of
Heard,
confusion.
there is no question pending, and I would appreciate it if you wouldn't be making argument to the jury.
Sorry, I thought you had asked me about it.
Yeah, no,
I
you
didn't ask you
didn't.
about anything.
Camille Vasquez is a badass.
And that's her sister. That's her sister.
How did Ms. Heard's actions on May 27th, 2016 affect you?
You can tell he's reliving it.
Objection, Your Honor. Relevant.
It didn't change everything?
Lawsuit.
Sorry.
Sir, if you could wait till the objection, please.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Relevance.
Tourette's.
After it, he really doesn't.
One of the key dates.
And really, if you think about it, how everything went with their relationship and how it affected him could be considered damages, which is part of the argument of suing.
Yeah, and he's not seeking really, even though his point is to seek $50 million. $50 million, in most people's opinion, would not remotely make up for the fact that your character has been besmirched, skewed, tarnished, ruined.
And you lost movies.
He lost a deal, obviously, with Pirates of the Caribbean 6. He had to resign from, what was it, the Grindelwald, or from Fantastic Beasts. He was in that one, but then he was going to be in another one. So he had to resign, basically, from doing that. He would have been dropped otherwise because of the accusations that had been thrown against him. And he tried to sue the Sun, which was a paper, I think, in the UK, because they basically went off what Amber Heard had said. He tried to sue them, and there was some favoritism in that court that was found out later that he ended up losing that case, and it wasn't really because they had anything to go on. I mean,
It was only circumstantial evidence.
it was circumstantial evidence, which a lot of what she has turned over was still sort of circumstantial and was used in not the right context. And when he would try to answer questions, they didn't want him to apply context, but then when they would question Amber Heard,
They want context.
they wanted context. There was a lot of this back and forth, and I know attorneys get paid to defend their person, and that's what they tried to do. But unfortunately for her, I don't feel like the evidence supported her claims as they did support more of his claims.
We really went off. My thing was the objecting to relevance is that is relevant to the suing.
It really was,
so.
and you're asking him, what did he lose? Everything. It really, because your what did we call it? Your the history. What do you call it? Your reputation. Yeah, his reputation was ruined. He did get dropped from some things, and
he hasn't gotten really many calls for deals since.
No, and the thing is he's never been accused of any type of violence towards any woman, sexual or physical in nature at all. Now, he has had some lawsuits against other people for various other reasons, but he's never been accused of attacking a woman. He had been with the father or the mother of his kids for 14 years before this whole thing with Amber Heard, when he met Amber Heard and all that stuff. And then he's had previous relationships with others that we know of, Kate Moss, Winona Ryder. He's had a lot of relationships with people, but in the end, nobody has ever accused him of being violent with them. Did he might have some outbursts or something? He may have. That's not violence. when you have a hissy fit about something. And I think if those things that were said, which I do believe because they were corroborated by even stuff that she turned over or had admitted into evidence, they really more supported him and what was said in the beginning about portions of their relationship, what other people testified to as being true on the side of Johnny Depp and being not true for the side of Amber Heard. There's a lot of stuff, and I would definitely, and I know I've repeated this before, definitely go back and look and hear the evidence that was presented, and I believe you'll come to the same conclusions unless you're just a diehard Amber Heard fan.
Listen to Ms. Heard's testimony at this trial.
I'm sorry.
What has it been like for you to listen to Ms. Heard's testimony at this trial?
Honestly, painful, probably.
I don't doubt it.
Your Honor.
Hey, now this was rebuttal, so yes, he has the authority to say that.
Insane.
And she always had this arrogant look on her face. Until her people questioned her. When her people questioned her, then we would have
her sadness was over-exaggerated.
Exactly. The sadness, the sad face, the crying of the no tears. It really, I mean, it was sort of kind of infuriating. And you can go back and you can look at a lot of his past interviews and things like that. He is a man who chooses his words. He thinks about what he is going to say.
And typically, he likes to deliver his words in an artistic way, so he has to carefully think about his words, how he wants to express them, because he does have trouble expressing himself, like his sister testified in the first week.
There's a lot of things that came to light about his past life, as a child, as a teen, and all those things are very relevant to the Johnny Depp that we do see today. Now.
So, we're trying not to get into too much seriousness, but we're trying to make it make sense.
Ridiculous, humiliating, ludicrous, painful.
I said painful.
Unimaginably brutal, cruel.
This you sat on moments ago.
False. Awful.
That there was blood left all over the pillows, and Mr. Depp had broken
Now look,
the bed
she's
frame.
smirking suddenly.
Pictures were taken of that bed frame, and that picture fails to capture the bloody pillows.
Not
Yeah.
sitting in this courtroom snickering.
See, look that
I'm
transition.
not sitting in this courtroom laughing, smiling, and making snide jokes.
She
I'm
did.
not. This is
Stand her.
horrible.
So those are, I'm going to say what this is going to be because I think we're going to do several episodes of this because this was a 6-week trial. There was a lot that was really put out there, and I think in order to try to cover a lot of it, it's probably going to take a couple of videos, maybe 3 videos, maybe 4 videos, and these are just things we'll just discuss just because this was a huge story, this was a big deal, and like everybody else, we also have an opinion as well. But if you haven't done it already, please subscribe. Please share our videos with friends and family. I want to also put thanks out there to our subscribers. We appreciate your time, and we hope that you enjoy what you see. If you have anything that you would like to see, please let us know in our comments. Our comments are always welcome. We always want to be better for you guys. So until our next video, peace.